This is ROH wrestler Adam Cole.
This is ROH wrestler Kyle O'Reilly.
And you are listening to the podcast for WrestlingNewsSource.com.
You're listening to the official Wrestling News Source podcast. For all of your information, go to WrestlingNewsSource.com or find us on Facebook by searching WrestlingNewsSource.com or WNS Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Stitcher, and iTunes by searching Wrestling News Source Podcast or WNS Podcast. Now, being broadcast in over 30 different countries, here are your hosts, Daniel Herron, Tyler Abear, and Doug.
That's right. What's up, everyone? I am Daniel Herron.
I'm Tyler Abear.
I'm Doug.
And we welcome you to episode 140 of the official podcast for WrestlingNewsSource.com. For all of your information, go to WrestlingNewsSource.com. Check us out on Facebook, WrestlingNewsSource.com. You can find us on Facebook, WNS Podcast, on YouTube, WNS Video, and on iTunes, Wrestling News Source Podcast.
Slow down there a little bit.
I'm good.
If you follow us on Twitter, we're at WNS Podcast for the main site, WNS Source.
Also on Stitcher. Please go and comment and rate and review and like and share all that stuff because we need you to. That's how the show grows.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate it.
And we do appreciate it, especially those who leave reviews. Did we get any reviews this week? I didn't even check.
No.
Okay, well, there you go. But joining us on the show this week, a very special guest from the Asteroid Belt Company, Eric Kenichi. Welcome to the show.
Dude, you messed up right off the bat.
I did mess up.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one that thought that.
Air conditioning. Eric, welcome to the show. Sorry for that. I'm butchering it.
It's closer than a lot of people get.
I had it in my head, and then as soon as I was getting ready to say
Dude,
it.
I totally had it. You should have got me.
I'm sorry. Okay, Doug.
Konishny.
Okay. Say it one more time for the fans.
Konishny.
One more time.
I said it like 3 times.
Well, just so that everything's clear, because I felt like I was talking over you for that one.
Konishny.
There you go. So welcome to the show, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, we appreciate having you on. You know, you founded the Asteroid Belt Company. You can go to asteroidbeltcompany.com, or you can follow them on Twitter at Asteroid BC, and you can also find them on Facebook as well. So, you know, the special thing that you do, you create custom championship titles. Is that correct?
Yes.
Very cool.
They're not just normal, like, replica title belts. I stress it on my website. They are, like, hobby title belts.
Yeah.
But they are very cool.
Yeah.
Cool nonetheless.
Oh yeah. We each have one WNS Podcast belt.
We all three have one. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you check out the ones on our Facebook page, and you like those, and also our good friend John David Guerra from Nightmare Pro Wrestling, you can find his as well. Really good stuff, and enjoy the work. So we felt compelled to have you onto the show to talk about it.
Yeah, it's my first podcast. I was really excited about it. I've never done one before. Obviously, that makes it my first one. But I love talking about it. I try to do it with people around here, and it's like I get all sorts of crazy looks, and they're like, title belts, like, for wrestling? I'm like, I don't do a whole lot for wrestling, but I can. It's whatever you want to pay for.
That's the good thing. It could be for anything, you know? I mean,
I think they're... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that was it. I was going to say.
I think that, obviously since it's, wrestling or title belts, people automatically think wrestling, but the closest thing to wrestling I've ever done was a friend of mine asked me to do one for, the wrestling is fun because they have a banana for whatever reason as their official championship, and he thought about having it made and proposing it to Mike Quackenbush, who I think runs kind of that stuff over there. It never made it through, but Mr. Touchdown was the champion at the time, and they thought Banana was king, but he decided it was cool enough, and he kept it to put it in his trophy case. And that was about the closest thing to actual wrestling that I've done.
So Mark Angelicetti actually has the WIF belt?
Yes, he does. He told my friend Todd that he's like, well, the Banana is king, and I don't think that they would use it. whether it wasn't official enough or whatever the reason, but he thought it was very cool and that he was going to take it home and put it in his trophy case or mantle or whatever he has.
Very cool. Yeah, I actually saw that. I guess I was kind of just messing around on Twitter one day. I saw came across you. I guess you've done belts for the Atomic Elbow wrestling zine, and I guess that's kind of how it caught my attention. I read the zine, and I saw you kind of tweeting back and forth with Robert, I guess, and I saw the belt and kind of checked the site, and I saw you had done the Wrestling is Fun title, and it just led me to the site to check out, and I just thought it was really cool, so I had to get these two douchebags one and myself one as well.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, you've done others. You did a line for Cobalt as well, didn't you?
Yeah, that was what it was people that have ordered mine, just like the ones that you guys have talked about and that you have, and people have said that they were too flimsy or not strong enough or whatever the reason is. So I experimented with plastic, and it was I offered them for a little while, and I did a few, and then I ended up taking it off on my website for the time being because I couldn't quite get the lettering down for things. I could do shapes and whatever, and what my whole initial goal was to make them for Chikara with like their like Cobalt and the Fire Ant, Green Ant, and such as kind of like character, what I would call faceplates. And then Cobalt him and I kind of started talking, and I started working with his, and it just ended up being, I just got it kind of where we both liked it, and then Chikara had went on hiatus or whatever it is now, and he kind of decided he wasn't going to buy any from me because I was going to basically create them as for him to sell as merchandise. And
right.
Then it just didn't end up working out that way. I assumed that Chikara was one of his big sellers, so he decided that for the moment he wasn't going to do any.
Right. Yeah, I noticed I guess I would call them mock-ups. I don't know what you call them. I guess of the faceplates that you're talking about. So like the Dasher one and the Colony ones and stuff like that. So those are not going to happen anymore, or?
No, actually they are. I mean, those wouldn't be for the moment sold from like merchandise standpoint from like say Dasher. I proposed it to him, and he didn't want to commit to buying so many, but he graciously gave me his permission to sell them. And then in turn, I was going to use some of that money to buy like his T-shirts, and if they sold well enough, I would give him like a commission of such just for allowing me to do that. But his could work. The whole plastic thing isn't the problem. It's doing like letters and words or numbers and words. So like I can actually do numbers, which aren't so bad. It's just really small letters, because what I ran into the problem was some guy that recently ordered a belt, I ended up having to do it in my metal style because he had like I can't remember the name offhand, but he had like a big fantasy football, like I think it was like Rex's something. It was like quite a long word, and then they got a small enough detail with that I couldn't work it. I haven't been able to figure that out. But Dashers wouldn't be a problem, and I actually have his faceplate done. But I've been really busy with actual orders of my normal belts that I just haven't been able to have any downtime to really create anything with that. I just basically need the clay part of his side plates done, and then I could actually make mini belts for that.
Very cool. So, I guess you kind of mentioned the several different kinds. I know, you the rubber one, I guess you kind of discontinued, like you said, for the moment, but, I know you have the, what you call the Black Hole series, as well as, the Proton series, which we have the Proton series. So, maybe you could talk a little bit about the difference between the two and what someone would actually get from ordering those from you.
The Proton series, at the time when you guys ordered them, I didn't have that name for them. They were just my standard title belt. With my whole Asteroid Belt Company thing, it's kind of plays on space, like NASA type stuff. I'm not a big space geek type thing, but there's a story on my website as to how I kind of came up with the Asteroid Belt Company name through a wrestling game that I play that's actually set 100 years into the future. So it's kind of like Star Wars meets Marvel Comics meets wrestling type thing, but
that's officially your game, right?
The Proton. So then I decided, well, when I first thought I was going to do the plastic, and then I already have the metal, I decided, well, I need to kind of categorize them and give them some cool names. So I just got to thinking around. I'm like, oh, Proton, that's kind of a cool name. And then the Black Hole, which is kind of a space, name too. And then the plastic ones were the Ion series, which is still part of a molecule, and which is no longer there for the moment. But so to answer your question is right now the Proton is my original belts that I've done, and they're I guess I don't have any real replica title belts, so I would like to think that they're about the same size as a replica title belt. I assume they fit most average size adults. I'm not sure. I've never had anybody tell me they were too small yet, but
I could totally wear mine.
So those fit the Proton series fits most regular adults up to, I think, I try to get my total length of the belt to be 48 to 52 inches. And then, so I started doing what a friend of mine had asked me to do some for him, and I have them on my site as well. He wanted kind of a mini belt, which in turn ended up being the Black Hole series. And so I just kind of decided, oh, okay, well. And then another individual saw that and decided he wanted one, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should make these. So I do to kind of give it a little different price point on things, so where somebody doesn't want to spend the $50, which is the most expensive right now that I have, which is still a lot of people have told me is very budget friendly, considering most replica belts or even a custom actual title belt is way more expensive than that. So I'm going to be in the process of doing one that's kind of in the middle, and it'll still be metal, and it might be the new Ion series too, but it'll be about the size of a WWE kids title belt.
Nice.
Very cool. And I guess we should clarify that this is all custom titles that you work with people to make. They can send you a design that you will mock up for them, or I think they can even just come to you with some ideas. And from my understanding, you can work out some designs yourself, or hello?
Yes.
Sorry. But yeah,
sorry, I didn't know if you were still talking or if that was your question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Some people, I guess it's kind of an equal mix. They're I've had people send me designs, roughly what it should look like. I have my own program that I use. Or some people will be like, I want, a moon, some stars, whatever, and some people aren't picky. Some people they'll find a belt on my site and they'll be like, oh, can you make it like this and that, and mix things around. So, but yeah, if somebody doesn't really have an idea, I can put something together to kind of work with that, and we can interchange things. I mean, everything. I enjoy designing them. I'm no professional Adobe Illustrator or anything like that. I just whatever is kind of a rough draft of what it would look like for them to give them an idea. So either way, I can totally come up with something on my own. If they don't really have anything, they can just tell me a name of what they want and maybe a symbol of some sort and stuff like that. I do a lot of that for my main seller is fantasy football. Ever since Aaron Rodgers and his discount double check thing, it's just kind of went really crazy from there. And people are like, okay, well, this is the name of my league, or they'll send a little symbol or logo along or something and stuff like that.
I find it fascinating that you actually do more. Do you actually do more sports things than you do like wrestling related things?
Yeah. I don't. Like I say, I don't do a whole lot of wrestling related stuff outside of the with belt and stuff like that. But mainly it's fantasy football. That's probably my biggest one. I've done, I don't know how many I've done. I've done a lot. And I've done, laugh at it if you will. It's called cornhole. It's also bag toss, whatever you want to call it. I've done a pair for them. I've done beer pong, table tennis. There was a cool, something that I thought was really cool. I kind of felt a little honored by it. Was my first Canadian order, well, my only Canadian order too. There's curling, which is, if you know what that is, it's some sort of marble ball thing they slide on ice. Oh yeah. And they do that up in Canada. And this guy, it's a pair, and they did it. This guy got a hold of me, and he's like, we won this curling tournament. They gave us kind of a crappy prize. I found your site, and I thought we needed some belts. So basically, he bought belts for them winning it, and I thought that was really neat that my belts trumped whatever little prize they got.
That's cool. What made you get into like the belt making process?
I got into wrestling itself. I've been a wrestling fan since I was like 8 years old, and we didn't have cable at the time in our little small town I grew up in, and I'd go visit my grandma in the next town over, and they had it, and I got hooked. And I don't know why, it just seems like it's just a tangible thing with title belts. I grew up on, well, at that time it was like the WWF in the studio with Bobby the Brain and Gorilla, and then when we ended up getting cable, it ended up being the NWA at that time, and one of my top two favorites was the Intercontinental and the TV title in the NWA, and for some reason it's just, I don't know, I was just fascinated by title belts, and I have ever since then.
Cool.
So basically what it started out was I play a card and dice wrestling game from Pilfinger Games, and you can play it by yourself or you can play it, with others. And what had happened was they had a paper newsletter back in the day, and you could send in your address and kind of an exchange thing so everybody would see that. Well, that's when I learned there was a couple people around Iowa, which is where I'm based out of, and there was one guy in Nebraska, and I'm only like an hour away from that, and we got together and had a little gathering. And I started out I thought, well, we need a title belt for this. It's wrestling related. So I made one out of cardboard, and I had black spray paint for the straps and a silver for the buckle at that time. And then it just kind of grew to where I had ordered, somehow on the internet, I had found, kind of the earlier days of it, I had found some guy that made title belts. If you've seen mine and you like mine and you were to see this, his was like a really bad joke because wasn't what I thought it was. He had the vinyl strap similar to what I have, but his was not as good. His didn't have any texture. And then he had like a piece of vinyl flooring, and it just had some gold foil over it, and he just used puff paint. And I'm like, oh, geez. So that kind of set the wheels in motion. It's like, I could do better than this. So I just kind of ended up searching high and low on the internet for different products and hitting up different stores for things like Michael's and other craft stores and then I finally ended up to where I'm not sure how I got to the point where I could do with the metal like I do now, but somewhere I had seen something, and then I'm like, oh, well, I could try that. Well, then I would just keep searching and teaching myself how to do all this and learning different tricks and stuff that I had found, just different things online. I mean, there's nobody else online that I know that I can go and find, oh, these title belts, I can do this. Well, it's basically they've done it with scrapbooking or different crafts, kind of similar techniques and stuff. And then I just kind of put everything together.
That's very cool. You're completely self-taught, and everything, I guess, that you've arrived at is just from like trial and error, or just trying to figure it out yourself. That's cool.
Yeah, I've pretty much it is. I mean, I've basically just pretty much seen everything on the internet. I've never ran into anyone personally that has done anything even remotely related to anything on my belts. So it's all been, oh, okay. And then I'll see something else, and I'm always constantly obsessed with trying to not change what I do, but always trying to add on to things. And it's like, probably as far as I can go with the metal that I know of until I can find something else and be like, I'm going to go try this, or I'm going to try that. So it's just, I'm always constantly, the wheels are always turning in my head.
Very cool. And you're also getting ready to take some of your belts on the road and go to a couple conventions. Is that right?
Yeah. Thanks to John David Guerra, I guess, through you guys, and the whole Nightmare Pro Wrestling thing. I've been following him on Facebook and Twitter and looking at his pictures and stuff and seeing all the cool Comic-Cons that he goes to. And it's like, it just kind of like, maybe I could try that. I don't know what audience, there would be for it, but sitting at home, I'm never going to know. And I didn't really think that Iowa had a Comic-Con, and they do. But sadly enough, the entry fee is like way too high for me. But I'm in the middle, in between Des Moines, which is our state capital, and Omaha, which is I'm an hour each way. And Omaha's 3-day price is still a lot cheaper than the 1-day price Des Moines was. So my plan is to go there. I'm going to, well, since I make everything custom and it gets shipped to everyone, I don't have anything for myself. So I'm planning on making like an Avengers themed belt, which is kind of a play on the Avengers logo with my logo, so it's kind of a mix. So I would have a display belt for that. Then I plan on making a couple other closely resembled wrestling belts of a certain straight edge superstar, and trying to see how they sell to the kids, because the guy that's responsible, or the head guy for the Comic-Con, he's like, told me, he's like, there'll be a lot of kids there. You might need to bring some belts. I'm like, I can't just bring some belts. I don't have any. He's like, what do you mean you don't have any? I'm like, I'm custom. I'm made to order. I just don't have belts. So I got to I'm going to try to make a few and see how they work. So that's my only one that I have right now for the convention-wise. I'm looking into, there's a few that are fairly close, like in Minnesota, but they've already sold out, or they're too close for notice-wise. So it's a lot to kind of look forward to for the spring and stuff for next year. So, but
I think we talked about this before, me and Doug. I think there's a big crossover between comics and wrestling and stuff. So, I wish you luck on that. I think it's gonna be good. Comic convention.
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous about it. I guess I'm fairly steady with belts, but I don't feel like I'm successful at all, or not to be a naysayer or negative or whatever. I just don't feel like I'm out there, or I don't have the publicity type stuff. Like, people don't really know who I am. And for some reason, I just have this going into the Comic-Con, which is NukeCon, it's called, in Omaha. I just don't feel like I I'm just got this negativity for some reason. Not so much a negativity, but it's just like I just have this feeling that's like people are just going to be like, it's going to be like a Virgil thing. People are just going to look at me and walk by and be like, what is this? But I won't charge people $25 to take my picture.
Well, that'll at least get you some sort of recognition, right?
Yeah.
You're like, hey,
I might charge him 20. I'll undercut Virgil by $5 or something.
I think Virgil's going to be in a movie soon, I heard.
Is it a one-man show?
No,
he's just like an extra.
I can only imagine his asking price.
That's gonna be bad, but definitely best of luck to you on that. Just make sure you talk with whoever you can about it, and if you see someone dressed up, be like, oh, I've got the belt that could go perfectly with that outfit, or something. I don't know. Just give me a few weeks, I'll get it to you.
I might even run into some slash fiction people.
We're going to take 10% cut of those guys.
I'm going to have to charge more for these slash fiction belts because WNS Podcast, they're getting a percentage. Royalties.
Yep. So, for more information on that, go to asteroidbeltcompany.com. You can follow them on Twitter, AsteroidBC. And make sure to like their page, like the page on Facebook as well.
And we have them, so we're not just on here like shilling stuff for people that we don't have. We have belts, so go buy belts too.
This guy has Doug's money,
yes,
and so that's saying something right there.
You too can be a baller, with the belt like that.
He's also got some sweet like Hulk-esque shirts that you can go buy also on the page with like a kind of rip it open, like Incredible Hulk, not Hulk Hogan style. Although it's kind of a mix because the shirt is ripped, so it's like both sides of the coin, Hulk and Hulk, with a title belt. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty good stuff. So, asteroidbeltcompany.com for all of that. And, Eric, if you'd like, like to have you stick around on the show, get your thoughts on what happened on Raw and your Night of Champions predictions and everything like that, if you want.
Yeah, I'm glad to. I've been so excited and waiting for it. I've always listened to you guys, and it's like now I'm part of the show. I've made it.
All right.
Yeah, that's how we like to start it. So, we'll kick things off with some feedback that we had from last week from Tasty Bobby Hasty saying, "Sorry guys, one for the idiotic watching comment and not and for not listening in a while. School starting back gets busy." And been having some emotional, stupid teenager crap in my life. Again, I'm sorry.
Like, I kind of thought like this kind of stuff goes without saying, but Bobby, we're just like fucking with you, dude. Like, I mean,
he doesn't want to be stripped of his tasty status.
Well, the reality of the situation is like, I don't know, like Abear is probably one of like the honest to goodness best dudes on the planet. He's just a real good dude, but that doesn't stop us from busting Abear's balls like all the fucking time.
All the time.
Constantly. It doesn't matter.
You have to.
Yeah, it's just
I am the guy you have to bust his
like
chops.
we wouldn't like yell at you if we I don't want to go there. I almost said like
I'm going to yell at you.
We only yell at you because we care, but we also would yell if we didn't like you as well. So I don't want to send mixed messages, but we're just messing with you, dude.
Hogan.
There you go.
Deal, man, Hogan.
See, he gets it.
There you go.
It's that simple. So, we're just busting you on you, Tasty. So, it's all in good fun.
Listen to Eric, man. Suck it up. Be a man, Hogan.
There you go. So we kick off Raw. We're kind of just gonna blaze through Raw so we can get to our Night of Champions predictions without all the champions being defended. But anyways, we kick things off with the return of Edge. Having the cutting edge, saying it's great to be back. Got a great, welcome home from the WWE universe. Very loud ovation. Got on the microphone saying it was great to be back. Had Daniel Bryan out because he didn't want Randy Orton. I like the fact that he made the mention of his time with Rated RKO. He was like, I'm not gonna bring that guy in, but talking up Daniel Bryan, and then Triple H and Randy Orton come out and they go at it back and forth. Edge basically saying, you're not a dictator, you're just a dick.
Dick.
So Yeah, I mean, I felt like the opening was pretty strong, and it ended with the Shield bringing out Christian after Triple H had sicked the Hounds of Justice on Christian. So, what did you guys think about the opening of Raw?
I thought it was like pretty well done. I thought Edge played his part well. He didn't make any like grand like claims. It's not like he went out there pretending he had like a way to make matches or anything. It was just like, yo, I don't want to talk to Orton, which is cool. I think like I'm still to this day, and I really shouldn't be at this point because we're weeks in, but I feel like I'm still a little bit surprised every like week that we come in and they're like so openly playing to the internet saying, you know, this is what people think of us and this is what we're going to portray for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't know. I know that Edge is, he's going to be messed up for, I guess, the rest of his life. He can't take all that stuff. But there's part of me that thought, like, he was just going to, like, take something from the Shield or something. But I don't know. That's what I was hoping the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting the way that they played it out because, Triple H said, oh, I'm just going to take something from, someone that you love. And, he turns around and, hey, there's Christian being dragged out, which means he had already been attacked prior to what had been said. It was just a matter of bringing him out. But I thought the back and forth was pretty good. Triple H has definitely stepped into this heel persona, which, he's good at doing. He's much better as a heel than he is a face, as is Randy Orton. So, I thought it was strong work from all parties. And, I like the fact that they even said, okay, we're going to take this moment to go ahead and throw out the reason why you're here to promote Haven. We'll just do that, get that out of the way, and now we'll go back to business. Best for business, that's right. How about you, Eric? What do you think about the opening?
I thought it was pretty good. It just seems like ever since, Daniel Bryan was screwed over by Orton, to me, it just seems like it's been, I don't know if it's been drug out for so long, or it just seems like it's just been a long enough time until they get to, where they get a fight. Like Bryan and Orton at the pay-per-view or whenever they're going to do that. It's just like, it almost seems like I've had enough already, but yet it's still good, if that makes any sense.
Like you feel like it might have been it's drawn on a little too long, and now you're just like, okay, I'm just ready for them to fight and get it over with.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like, what more? Like they've almost done enough as far as they can go, type thing to me. They're holding him down enough. They've already told him that he's not the face of the company, and he's already been, he's just been getting beaten down. It's almost like the tide has to turn back at some point, and that's what I'm waiting for.
Okay, I did feel sort of like the end of Raw was sort of close to being copy and paste of last week's. So like I feel like maybe if Night of Champions would have been last weekend, they would have, they might have been able to fit it in to get that feeling out. But how about you guys? Y'all feel the same way? Feel like it's kind of drawn out?
No, I think they're just really trying. I feel like they're just like really focused on getting them over as like a mega oppressive like faction. And I think it takes a while to do that because even like within the first couple of weeks of this angle, Orton and Triple H were still getting cheered when they walked out. And it took them, like, they had to work into their character to get people to actively, be despising them.
Boom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but at least it's going to be hope, we're going to get to finally see that fight this coming Sunday for Night of Champions. But the first matchup we got to see was Kofi Kingston going up against Curtis Axel. And, you feel like this would have been sort of a matchup to make Curtis Axel look strong, but instead it made him look, sort of weak, like he forgot the rules of wrestling, getting disqualified, getting the 5 count with Paul Heyman saying, you can't do this on Sunday. You can't let this happen. Otherwise, I'm screwed. So, it's just, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Curtis Axel. I feel like he's just a generic wrestler thrown in the mix, between this love-hate relationship between Paul Heyman and CM Punk.
I think he's a fine, like, wrestler, like, between the ropes. I think he's perfectly fine. Like nothing special or anything, but he's fine. But he just lacks so much charisma. Like I don't.
Yeah.
And not even just like the speaking charisma, but like he doesn't even have like a physical charisma to him that I can see. And I mean, I guess I see what you're talking about, but I don't think the point was to get him over or to get there. It's about Heyman and Punk, and it was just a setup for Heyman to be like, you can't do that, or that's my ass at the pay-per-view kind of thing.
You wouldn't think that since he did all that stuff, he was just trying to be more aggressive, like he wanted to be more aggressive, maybe towards Punk. For the pay-per-view or something?
I mean, it's possible, but it's just, I don't know. There are other ways he could have gone about doing that other than getting disqualified like that. But, that's how they wrote it in the cards. But what about you, Eric?
I just feel like, I'm kind of like you guys. It's like he is generic. It's kind of a little off topic. I don't understand. I understand why he's with Heyman to kind of help get his character over because Heyman is so good about doing that. I just never liked the whole Curtis Axel name. If it was Axel Curtis, that might have been a little better, but I don't know why they don't play up on his real name of Henning. But I feel it's just generic, and it's like he doesn't. He's not over to me. He's just kind of there.
I agree with you on that one. But, Kofi Kingston gets the victory on that one via disqualification, which led to a backstage segment when we come back from commercial. Apparently, Paul Heyman claimed that he slipped on a puddle of water and was injured. They brought him into the doctor's room. And, you could, just from this one segment, you already know where they're going to go with it. But then we get the first of several Goldust video packages because he was returning to fight Randy Orton for Cody Rhodes' job. So we got to look forward to that later on in the night. Then we got to see Booker T backstage giving Big Show advice about maintain professionalism.
Well, what has he been doing? I know last time he gave what's it called?
Dane O'Brien.
Yeah,
I guess he's just kind of wandering around giving advice.
He was out injured, and when he came back is when they mixed up the GMs, and he's just kind of been out since. I don't. Oh, go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
Oh, saying they probably created a new position for him. He's probably like the new WWE intervention expert or something. They can see him he'll probably be on the Kardashians next too.
I'd watch that.
I mean, who watches that? I mean, if you watch that.
Doug would watch that.
I mean, it leads into Total Divas. I'm already on the channel. No, but like I bought into Booker a little. I thought it was better played this week. His angle with Brian was he's like, hey, it's good money here, so don't mess up and have to go back to wrestling in gyms for shit pay. This week, it was more like, hey, show you got a family. You don't want to rock the boat too much. You got to put your family first. I felt like he was more, I don't know. I just like the ankle better. It seemed less like.
He's trying to be the voice of reason for the corporation, like he's secretly working for them to try and coax the people to do, what they feel is right.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm calling it now.
No, Booker's a good guy.
They bought him.
I can see Booker being in like the opposing stable's corner.
Yeah. Okay.
He's the original people's champion. He has to be for the people.
That's right.
Hey, they can run heel too as well. As well. He's already got that Hall of Fame ring. What else does he have to prove? So
that's what I'm talking about, dog.
let me talk at you, dog. But next up, we got to see Bray Wyatt go up against Dolph Ziggler, or at least a little bit of it, because they went to commercial and we got about 3 minutes of the actual match. But I felt like it was a good showing from Bray Wyatt. I feel bad for Dolph Ziggler because it's sort of just like, man, how far has he fallen in such a short amount of time?
But they're building it to where it's like, they said during that match, what was it like? Dolph Ziggler's trying to prove himself to Triple H.
Yeah, but in doing so, he's not going anywhere for it.
Hey, he sold that what's it called? Bray Wyatt's move. He did pretty good, or like how he took that bump. Whatever.
Yeah, especially whenever Wyatt, when they both ran from the ropes, I think, and they collided with one another, and Bray Wyatt just like slammed him down. I thought it was pretty good. What about you, Doug?
I like the match. It was short, and most of it ran through a commercial, but I like the finish a lot with Ziggler kind of jumping over the family's arms that were trying to trip him, which got him like caught out of like air in the corner with like a splash in the corner from Wyatt, which led into his finish. So I thought it was cool. I mean, you guys are like kind of like, oh, how far Ziggler has fallen, but I don't really care. I mean, hate me, internet, but I don't think Ziggler is as great as you guys think he is. So
I don't think he's like super awesome, but like I'm still behind him, and I'm still wanting more from him.
He has so much potential and charisma, but it's just if he just makes some adjustments, he'd do a lot better. Well, what about you, Eric?
Well, I think that if they wanted to like job somebody out, they should have looked up Zack Ryder and see what he was doing.
chilling at the buffet.
I don't think that. I guess the Ziggler needed to be in that spot. I don't know. I mean, proving himself. I don't. If you're going to prove yourself, I don't know why they need to book him to lose like that, especially to like the Wyatts who are really red hot. And I think if they were, sort of have some sort of interference, not so much from the Wyatts, but from like he's missing something that's like AJ if he would have had her to, kind of help him lose. I don't know what it's gaining from having him lose other than, because he was the world champion, and then now he's, jobbing out. I guess I just don't see what it's gaining, even if I understand the purpose of losing, but, there's got to be a point to where he's going to rise up or, be with Dolph Ziggler or Zack Ryder in a tag team somewhere to where they'll eventually just be forgotten.
Well, I think kind of like a point that Eric made, it's kind of speaks to like a bigger problem with the WWE. It seems like they have enough guys to kind of usher guys out as jobbers exclusively, but they don't seem to want to do that. They have this like weird like parody booking system where it's like it seems like guys who shouldn't be losing have to face each other. So they can't feature, you can't feature everybody at once, and they don't want to establish clear-cut jobbers. So, you got guys who shouldn't be losing to other guys who shouldn't be losing either. It's like this weird parody booking situation.
Kind of like The Miz. It's like, he was champion, and then he got down to where he was jobbing, and then he kind of went up to more of a mid-card to where he's just kind of stagnating there. So he's kind of went down to the bottom of the barrel, back up to the middle, and it's like I don't understand what they're doing with that. It's almost like they're being punished, but now it's like, oh, we're still going to keep them, but we don't know what to do with them.
We're going to have the fans cheer for you, but you're just not going to do anything.
We're here until your merchandise gets off of clearance and you don't have any more, and then you're gone.
Exactly. So, but Bray Wyatt gets the victory. I really hope we get to see more of Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family. Just because, the promos have been really good. The matches have been pretty good. I'd just like to see what they can really do.
I think it's been good, but I think they're lack direction.
Yeah.
I don't know what the payoff is to this.
It's like they've been saying, we're only going to bring these people up if we have something for them. Well, was the Wyatt family's feud with Kane it? Was that their big plan?
They have a cool gimmick, and they do this the cryptic thing really well, but it doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme.
Who is this directed towards?
Yeah.
So
somebody.
Yeah, we'll have to see where they go from there. But next up we got to see Paul Heyman and Curtis Axel come out saying that Heyman was injured and that he can't compete, so he was removing himself from competition on Sunday, and Brad Maddox came out with the trainer and said, oh, don't worry, we've got medical staff and we'll give you an exam. And, it was just kind of awkward and weird. And then CM Punk came out.
It's still, Triple H still doesn't like Heyman for all the stuff that happened between Brock Lesnar and all that stuff. So even though Triple H is being a heel and all that stuff, he's still going to be a dick towards Heyman. He'll even have Maddox still against Heyman,
Yeah. So, it was just kind of weird because the whole segment could have been done backstage or something, but I guess they wanted to do it in the ring so that CM Punk could come out, make the attack, and prove that Heyman was faking it and just trying to get out of the matchup. Yeah. But Doug, what did you think about this segment?
I mean, honestly, I don't really have anything to say about it. It was just there.
Yeah, just something to fill time.
I mean, I don't think it was intended as a time filler. I think they were trying to tell a story. I just didn't really care, and I don't really have anything to add to what you guys said.
Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it as far as that topic. But next up, we got to see Naomi, Natalya, and Brie Bella going up against Alicia Fox, Layla, and Oksana. And I'd comment about the matchup, but it was very short. Brie didn't tag in, and AJ was on commentary, and I was mostly paying attention to what she was saying.
Did it feel like in commentary? Not making fun of AJ, but like even JBL and all them were like still everybody was kind of against AJ with all the stuff she was saying. Like it felt weird to me. I don't know how to explain it.
Sort of like they were just ganging up on her.
Along those lines. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I don't know. What are you saying?
Forget it.
But Doug, what did you think about this? As far as AJ being on commentary, the comments she was making as far as being the Divas champion, the importance of it to her, and so on and so forth. And I guess the match itself.
I mean, the match was the match. I mean, there's not. I don't know that it necessarily warrants comment, but I don't know. I like the idea of Team Total Divas versus the rest of the Divas.
Total Divas versus the real Divas, air quotes.
I don't know about all that.
I
got to get the back of my girls of the Total Divas.
What do you think about AJ's comments? Did you find it funny or just meh?
I mean, I don't care. I think it's like I feel like the people who pop for those kind of comments are the people who think they know a lot more about wrestling than they actually do. So I don't care. Like I don't know. That doesn't get over with me. It's just like whenever she said, "Oh, you guys are just reality show girls, and I'm the fucking wrestler." I was like, I don't care. Whatever.
Shut up.
How about you, Eric?
I like her comments. I'm not an AJ fan. To me, it feels like, unless I've missed something, which could be like a while back when she let off the pipe bomb, air quotes, it's like they're almost trying to make her the CM Punk female version, and I just can't really get into her. She just seems so dry or off-putting, and it's like they're trying too hard to make her someone, and the only real thing that I took out of that was JBL, I think it was, commented something about something she had said on commentary, and he's like, "Are you going to get a tattoo of that too?"
Nice. But so yeah, I mean the segment was short. It probably lasted about 5 minutes. Naomi, Natalya, and Brie ended up getting the victory with much contribution from Brie. Great job. Next up, we got to see Alberto Del Rio going up against R-Truth. As soon as you see R-Truth in the ring, you kind of have to think, man, who's he going to lose to? So would he be someone that you would consider as a jobber?
No, I don't think that they've clearly defined. They have enough people to clearly define as jobbers, but they choose not to. They'd rather have guys like beat other guys who doesn't even make sense for them to be wrestling in the first place. But no, I think Truth's like talented enough to be done something with, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, he's on every time he's on TV, he's losing to someone, but I still don't feel like he has that. This guy's here to enhance whoever else. I mean, he kind of is, but he doesn't. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Do you get what I'm saying?
I think so.
They're basically using him instead of a higher tiered guy to lose, so that way they're not hurting somebody else. So they're like, oh, well, we'll put him against him because nobody's going to care if he loses.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. But at the same time, I don't feel like he has the jobber stigma. So, I mean, maybe that's even better in the long run. I don't know.
Time will tell as we follow the career of one R-Truth. But next up, we got to see Antonio Cesaro going up against a returning Santino Marella, with a very large ovation returning to the crowd. And, this was a very entertaining match. It had, good wrestling spots, good entertainment spots, a spin of doom, if you will. Just a very enjoyable matchup. And Santino got a good win, and it's not something that I feel would hurt Antonio Cesaro for losing this matchup.
I mean, I like seeing a pop for Santino being back. I like Santino a lot more than I think most people do.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a fun match. The giant swing was cool, and I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with Santino winning. I just hate to see Cesaro has been one of the top notch best in-ring guys this year, and I just hate to see him not being used what I feel is more effectively.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that he jobbed to Santino as much as him jobbing to anyone instead of doing something more meaningful is a problem for me.
Okay. How about you, Tyler?
It was highly enjoyable. I think it was fantastic. I felt like a lot of people. I don't know what town they're Toronto. Yeah, they were. It seemed like a lot of them were booing Antonio Cesaro, and then Santino came out. Everyone lost their stuff. I mean, they were super excited. And then they did that big swing, and everyone was like, "Oh!" And they just went crazy for that big swing.
Yeah,
but it was
I think just because the swing went for so long.
Yeah.
Just kept going.
It would have been, if he would have broke out the no hands UFO right after with him.
That would be awesome.
That would have been amazing.
It was highly entertaining.
How about you, Eric?
Yeah, I thought to me it seemed like Santino hadn't been gone that long. I haven't really gotten into him. He's really a comedic character. I enjoy the stuff that he does. But, yeah, it's kind of I think Doug said it earlier, they're bringing these guys up, these indie guys like the Wyatts and everybody, and if you're going to invest that much into, somebody like Antonio Cesaro, it's I understand people have to lose at some point in time, but it's he's been straddled with the yodeling gimmick and everything else, and it's if you're going to invest that much time in it, why are you putting somebody else over, I guess. I mean, especially Santino, they're really not ending. I mean, in a few weeks, he's going to be back to enhancing somebody else. So it's just kind of a head scratcher as to why the people they're bringing up from NXT to why they're doing that, I guess.
Right. So, I don't know. We'll just have to see where it goes. But Santino ends up getting the victory. Next up, we got to see Damien Sandow going up against The Miz. This was another pretty quick matchup. Fandango came out to cause the distraction, giving Damien Sandow the roll-up and the win. Nothing really too spectacular, except for Doug dancing over here. Having fun?
Yep.
I wonder if a last-minute thing for the pay-per-view, they're going to add Fandango versus Miz, or a pre-show thingy.
Pre-show's the tag team term.
Oh, is that
son.
the tag? Okay.
Pay attention, Aber.
Whatever.
Gotta know what's going on, man. Come on. And if Miz were on it, then it would be a pre-show. But this is the kickoff.
Yeah,
we know
that's the rules. I'm sorry, I
man.
forgot about that.
So yeah, just a quick little matchup between Damien and
Is it going to lead to Fandango and Sandow probably being a thrown together tag team? I think maybe.
Yeah,
that'll be next. Sometimes when two oddballs like that kind of get with each other, it seems oh, well, we got a new tag team.
Yeah, so
you never know.
The dancing saviors of the masses. I don't know, but next up we got to see Randy Orton going up against a returning Goldust with Cody's job on the line. And a lot of people were saying this was match of the night. I felt like it was a pretty strong showing from Goldust. He didn't appear to be slacking too much. I thought it was fine. Randy Orton ends up picking the victory after a near fall, much like they did with Cody Rhodes, and the crowd bit into it, but Randy Orton was able to recover and pick up the victory. But what did you think, Doug?
I mean, Goldust looks sharp. I like him a lot. I'm a big fan. It was a pretty basic match. Like it was just basically a lot of brawling. I mean, in-ring brawling. But I thought they kind of picked it up, and I think it would have benefited a lot from getting maybe 2 more minutes. I feel like they kind of sucked all the drama out of the match with the second near fall that he got off the crossroads. They went to the finish within like 20 seconds after that, and I felt like it sucked all the drama out of the rest of the match.
But yeah, I thought the matchup was pretty good, and how about you, Tyler?
I saw a bit of it, then I kind of walked out of the room. So for the Goldust
walking out.
Yeah, I did.
I see how it is.
I'm being honest.
Well, at least you got that much. But yeah, so Randy Orton ends up defeating Goldust, and do you guys think that this will lead to Dusty Rhodes coming in and trying to make the save?
I bet Doug hopes so.
I would love. I don't give a fuck if Dusty's just on my TV. I don't give a fuck what he's doing. He could be like dressing weird and like just saying crazy shit. I don't care. If Dusty's on my TV, I'm happy. I don't care.
Could it lead to Dusty coming back and then end up getting punted in the head?
It could.
It's possible.
I can see it.
He did that a while back, didn't he?
Yeah, at Extreme Rules.
The Legend Killer era, Randy Orton.
Yeah, he's done that to him before. So.
Fuck no. It leads to Dusty giving everybody bionic elbows.
So we'll have to see where it goes from there. But next up, we got to see RVD going up against Ryback, and RVD getting the victory via disqualification after Ryback picking up. Doug's just delivering bionic elbows.
Everybody's getting them.
That's so bionic. But yeah, so Ryback ends up getting disqualified after picking up RVD and slamming his nuts into the post.
The whole time in this match, like when they first came out, I was like, okay, it's the two dudes who like the guy. There's like one guy who makes
the same artist.
Same artist that makes their wrestling gear. And I'm like, I don't know. I was thinking about that the whole time. I know it's weird, but that's the first time they fought each other, huh?
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So, but what do you think about the matchup?
I thought it was all right. I mean, I still cannot get behind Ryback. I don't know why.
It's kind of one of those things like he's just there. He doesn't care if he wins or loses.
I don't think it's horrible, by no means. I'm like, whatever. Then I don't know. I thought it was all right match, even though I'm like still probably like Doug is like, oh, it's RVD. I don't care.
Yeah. How about you, Eric?
It was all right. I'm kind of like with you guys. It's like either way, it's like, oh, RVD's back. Okay. And then it's like, oh, Ryback's here. It's like, time to make a sandwich.
Just like, okay.
What kind of sandwich would you make instead of watching this match, Eric?
I don't know. I'm hungry. We got the munchies. I'd probably make PB&J or something.
PB&J, okay. I'll take PB&J over Ryback RVD, I think. Okay, hey, Bear, what kind of sandwich would you rather make than watch this match?
BLT.
Daniel, what kind of sandwich would you rather make than watch this?
I'll take ham and cheese.
I'm a turkey, man. I'm taking turkey.
Okay, that's fine. Cool deal.
That's right.
Have some tryptophan so that you can fall asleep if the match goes long.
If you would like to tell us what kind of sandwich you made during this match, go ahead and write it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, there you go. WNS Podcast. So yeah, that takes us into the main event of the night. Daniel Bryan with Big Show in his corner going up against Dean Ambrose with the Shield in his corner. But the stipulation was that if Big Show was not allowed to touch any member of the Shield. But before that, I did want to talk about the backstage segment that happened after Goldust's match with Stephanie McMahon being just a Class A bitch. So just very not
Whoa,
nice.
you misogynist? Come on, man.
Okay. A not nice lady.
There you go.
All right.
Not nice lady.
It was not nice. to Gold Dust. So
hey, can y'all stop fucking taking pictures? We're doing a podcast over here.
Hey, you did take a picture too.
Hey Bear's like taking selfies over there.
I'm not taking. It's my girlfriend.
Take pictures of a sandwich and put it on
Yes.
Facebook.
Listen to Eric. Take pictures of
Instagram
sandwich.
it.
Everybody's doing it.
But
Everybody's doing it.
but yeah, so what did you think? What did either of y'all think about the? Okay, everyone's just taking pictures now. But what did you guys think about Stephanie McMahon and the whole Gold Dust segment?
Oh, yeah, I didn't get to see that part.
You didn't see it. Okay, Doug, how about you?
I'm taking pictures of me and Aber. Go on.
Eric, save me here.
It's craziness in the studio right now, Eric.
You should take pictures of A-Bear taking pictures of you.
Let's do it.
Yeah, see how he likes it.
Oh, okay. So anyway, Stephanie was a not nice lady. Daniel Bryan ends up defeating Ambrose. The Shield attack. Big Show tries to make the save. Orton tries to make Big Show knock out Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan gives the high knee to Randy Orton, and then he holds the belt up and shouts yes.
Is that what they're calling? What is it they calling that? It's called the Hind.
I don't know. What do they call that?
When Kenta does it, he calls it Busaiku knee. I don't know that they've named it officially for Daniel Bryan.
Okay. Well, cool. So there
That's
you go.
not. Could that be like a Shining Wizard? No.
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 Okay.
So,
I would pay him $5 American or $4.80 Canadian if he called it the Kanish knee.
That's fucking awesome.
Yes.
Okay, we're pretty inactive on Twitter, but we're gonna like start the hashtag Kanishni for Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
Get on that, people.
Okay.
Nice.
If WWE takes that and okay,
Also,
Daniel's
Eric
been
can
waiting
do-
for. Go ahead.
Also, Eric can do math internationally or something. I don't know.
yeah.
See, Daniel's been waiting for the checks for WWE and they haven't
I
came in.
have.
So if
For
they
like
take your
3
name
years now.
and like do that, you probably won't get a check.
Yeah,
in the
you're not
mail
going to get
'cause-
any money out of it. Just trust me on that one.
Oh yeah,
So-
because they'll change it around. They'll change it around to their own name generators, pick
Yeah.
out something else. I'm just like, ah.
The kibosh knee or something.
Yeah, it's like, oh dang, I missed out on royalties again.
So that's how we closed out the Go Home show for Raw. Time to go into our Night of Champions predictions. Got the kickoff. It's not the pre-show. It's the kickoff with tag team turmoil. We get to see the Real Americans versus the Usos.
Don't act like you know anything about football.
Tons of Funk versus 3MB versus the
I
Primetime
don't
Players. The winner of this matchup gets to face the Shield for the tag team championship.
Let's just make it as hard as possible for Daniel to talk about this.
So difficult. So who
You're gonna ask us for predictions now?
So who are you guys gonna pick to win the kickoff show?
I'm going Primetime Players.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Tyler?
I know we've already seen it, but I'm going to pick Usos.
Usos.
It's Usos or Primetime Players. They need a babyface team.
yeah.
Usos.
We're like Usos.
I'm going to do it the way I want.
All right, do it the way you want. How about you, Eric? Who are you gonna pick with this matchup?
I think the Usos.
Well, I'm gonna go millions of dollars.
Millions of
dollars. Millions of dollars. Primetime Players to win
Split down the middle,
kickoff.
2 and 2.
So with that being said, we'll go ahead and go into a first matchup for the Night of Champions, being the Shield versus our picks to win the tag team turmoil. So
You can't do that.
well, we might as well.
How do you pick on a hypothetical?
We go off who we think is gonna win.
What if you're wrong? Then you already have the second match.
like
wrong.
tons of Funk wins.
If Tons of Funk wins and you lose twice, I don't know. So
It's like a bracket buster without a bracket.
yeah. So all right. Well, we'll say the Shield versus their opponent. Who do you pick? God, you guys are killing me here.
Okay. I don't care. I'm just going to pick Shield.
The Shield to retain. Eric, how about you?
I don't feel there's a strong team out of the turmoil that wins. So, I mean, whoever would win, even though I picked the Usos, I still think the Shield would win.
Okay, Doug.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Shield.
I'll go with the opponent.
Which one?
No, wait. I'll change my mind. I'm going with the Shield. Just because,
Which opponent?
Yeah, why
I
not?
don't know. I could totally see them switching the belts here.
Yeah. But, you also have to think with the strength of the corporation, do they need the belts? Or two, do they need to control the belts by keeping it inside that corporation?
I don't think they need to control the belts, and I don't think that having the belts enhances them as the henchmen of Triple H.
Okay, so I'm switching back my prediction to the opponent.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm taking
Shield.
primetime players right here.
I'm picking primetime players too. Millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Millions of dollars.
Yeah. I'm taking
I think the
primetime.
players would win the belts if they maybe played up, not exploiting the gay, coming out as the gay thing with Darren Young, but I think if it was somehow more built up, you know what I mean, brought out into the public that way, maybe not so much exploited or played upon, but, more profound or something to where it was generating more heat for them or more popularity, I think then they would win, but I don't think they will.
That's a good point. I just think that for whatever reason, I feel like they take the belts off the Shield here. I'm not really sure why. Mostly just because they have them as henchmen, and it has to be a babyface team, and I feel like the Usos got their shot. If they wanted to give the belts to the Usos, they probably would have given it to them already. What the fuck are y'all laughing at over there? Distracting me.
I think the Usos could do it if they, where, the Shield's beating the crap out of them, and then all of a sudden they just pull the surprising upset, like the quick roll-up or something, and boom, they can't believe they lost them that way. I think that's how it would have to happen.
Yeah, I can see that.
It'd be possible. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see where it goes from there. But let's go ahead and dive on into the next matchup. The Divas Fatal 4-Way. AJ versus Natalya versus Brie Bella versus Naomi. Tyler, who are you going to pick? And
I have a question. How long has AJ been having the belt? Oh, well, I know it's marked on her back of her neck, but how long?
Yeah.
How long?
About 3 months.
Okay. Shoot. Crud. I don't know. I'm going to stick with AJ.
All right. How about you, Doug?
As much as it kills me to go against my Total Divas girls, I'm gonna have to say AJ as well.
Eric?
I think Naomi.
Naomi.
I'm probably off on my pick. It just seems like she's a Funkadactyl, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. No, it just seems like they've been kind of getting a little bit of a rub and stuff. But then again, AJ's going to be really pissed that she has that tattoo for only 3 months. So I want to say Naomi, but I think AJ will do it.
All right. I'm going to pick AJ to retain as well. So Tyler, go ahead and pick our next matchup.
CM
First,
Punk
tell me why
versus-
y'all are giggling over there.
What?
This is distracting.
Because we can.
Oh God.
CM Punk versus Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman.
Yeah. This is an elimination match where if CM Punk pins Curtis Axel, he can face Paul Heyman.
I don't know. I feel like Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman, I'm going to pick them.
Okay.
Because I don't feel like he's going to get CM Punk is not going to get his justice here.
Well,
Because I feel like, I don't know how long it's going to be, but they're still going to be eventually down the road.
Yeah.
CM Punk and Brock Lesnar too.
And Punk has been saying stuff like, "Oh, the things I'm gonna do to Paul Heyman, y'all might not like," but from my understanding, this is not a no disqualification match. Like Punk could get himself disqualified if he tries to do something. At least that's my gathering. But you're gonna pick Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman?
Yes.
Okay. How about you, Eric?
I think when you throw in stipulation like that, I mean, how many times have we ever seen, you get your manager in the ring for 5 minutes. More often than not, they don't lose.
Yeah.
Or they lose, I guess I'm saying. The guy with the manager, they're not going to just book it and have them win and be like, oh, well, you don't get to do anything. So I think Punk will win, either that or like you guys said, I think it might be like a count out. Maybe Punk goes and chases him or something and then loses, and of course Heyman gets away and then he can't get him that time.
Right.
But I think Punk is going to win, but somehow he's not going to quite be able to get his hands on Heyman somehow.
All right. How about you, Doug?
Yeah, I'm taking Punker.
Okay, I'm gonna take CM Punk as well. So Tyler's all
I'm
by his
on my
so-
own.
Yep. All right, Doug. Go ahead and pick up our next matchup. Surprisingly, the Intercontinental Championship, which is held by Curtis Axel, not being defended. The U.S. title by Dean Ambrose, scheduled so far, not being defended.
I'll take Del Rio versus RVD.
Okay, Alberto Del Rio versus RVD. Who are you gonna go with on this one?
I could, for whatever reason, see like Del Rio trying to get back into Del Rio's. Did I say Del Rio?
Yeah, you mean Ricardo?
I meant Ricardo trying to
you go.
get back into Del Rio's good graces by fucking RVD over here somehow. I don't know. I think like RVD is what Chris Jericho was while he was here, but he's out on a hiatus, so he's filling the Jericho role while Jericho's out,
Help putting the
other
full-time
dudes
guys
over, and just having like trying to have meaningful feuds and putting young guys over. So I would say Del Rio.
Okay. How about you, Tyler?
Del Rio. I
Del
feel
Rio?
like he's gonna lose it.
All right. You feel like Del Rio's going to lose?
No, I feel like he's not gonna lose it.
Oh, okay. How about you, Eric?
I'd say Del Rio because I don't think that, RVD, he's whatever you call him, part-time, temporary, nostalgic, whatever. I don't see them giving him the belt, so I think Del Rio will win.
Okay. I'm going to pick Alberto Del Rio as well. So I just don't feel like, I don't feel like the feud has built to where RVD is going to win. Like, it wouldn't be a great payoff for him to win. It would just be a continuation of a feud, but, whatever. So the final matchup that's listed, Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. This one's had the longest storyline going so far. There's questions of, will Big Show play a factor in this matchup? Will he turn on his own and join the corporation, or will it just be,
Or he's forced to.
or will he be forced to?
Did Booker T convince him?
What's gonna happen? So
Divine intervention.
Yeah, right. So Eric, who are you gonna pick between Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan?
I think Randy Orton. It just seems like they want Bryan as the face of the company, but he didn't have the belt for very long, and I just don't think this is the time that he's going to get it. I think they'll drag it out a little more, maybe toward, I don't know, Survivor Series or maybe a pay-per-view or two before that. But I think somehow Orton wins, and then we'll continue to see the chase.
Okay. How about you, Doug?
Yeah, I agree. It's all about the chase right now. If they were going to put the belt on the Bryan here, it almost like negates like all the booking up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's too quick. They're going to keep it on Orton.
All right, I agree. I'm going with Randy Orton to win on this one. Tyler,
I'm same with y'all. So
all right, well there you go. So there's our predictions for Night of Champions. Make sure to post your thoughts on our Facebook page. There you go.
And now, Total Divas with Doug and Tyler. Mostly Doug.
No wonder people call you fat on Twitter.
Shut up! I have to say, I feel like a real diva.
You are a grown-ass woman.
Hey guys, Abra didn't watch this week.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's time for Total Divas with me. Anyways, so basically we have kind of a mishmash as usual with the stories all kind of weaving together. We have Nikki getting hurt. And we have like her Daddy Cena moment where she talks to Cena and he treats her like his 14-year-old daughter, and that kind of stuff. What else? We got Joe. Dude, I don't even remember what happened this week. Fuck. I'm tripping. Hold on. I know. Nikki got hurt. I know. Ariana broke up with her boyfriend.
Oh.
Which is
What? That was the guy on the last episode where they were in Vegas and he was drunk and he waving that cotton candy in front of her face. Okay, gotcha.
What's your read on Ariane? Because I feel like, yeah, he's kind of annoying, but like he seems like a good dude, and she just seems like I can't be bothered to talk to the dude.
Part of the WWE family, and
yeah,
I don't know. That's how I felt too.
Like I don't want to like maybe we're dudes, so we're like reading like biasedly into him getting screwed over, but I feel like she's kind of like not as invested as he is in it. He wanted her to meet like his
a female perspective.
Yeah, if only we had one. Yeah, but he wanted her to meet his dad because that's important in his culture, and so he did. She broke up with him anyway because she's cold-hearted.
Cold-hearted.
But
next week's episode, she gets back with
no. She like has to go to the hospital, but he was like super loyal about it. He was all like, "Hey, whatever, babe, I ain't going anywhere," even though you kind of just broke up with me on national television, and
it's no big.
You know, whatevs, you know.
Still get money for being on the show, right?
Yeah, so the other thing going down is Eva Maurice got invited to shoot for Maxim, the magazine, and they played up some weird tension with I almost said Dojo. JoJo, they were kind of like playing up a weird, like she finally sees her as competition now, and Eva Maurice was like, "Hey, are you here to wrestle or you want to sing?" Because like her idea to get like noticed more would be to sing, and which is really funny because like her whole thing this far has been like a Maximum like photo shoot. So yeah,
and red hair.
So cattiness between the newbies. I kind of feel like maybe one of them is gonna get let go like at the end of the season. That's gonna be like a big thing. I bet they do that.
No, in WWE.
I bet one of them gets fired.
Question: Was there any blurred crotches?
No blurred crotches that I can remember.
No cookies.
None that I can remember. There was your Daddy Cena moment. Not much DB. Trying to think. I think that's basically it this week. Who did I talk about?
Anything with Natalia?
Kind of, sort of. They kind of hint at that guy's kind of still around or whatever.
Uh-oh.
I think like next episode's supposed to be the wedding with her and TJ, and he's like there and he's like, "What the fuck, yo? Are we even supposed to be getting married? What's going on with this dude?" You know,
and there's a fight between that guy and TJ.
In the ring.
Does that happen? They get in a fight
in the middle of the ring.
Yes.
No, I don't know. So I don't know. Ariane's kind of being lame and a terrible girlfriend, and the rookies are being catty with each other, trying to get noticed. And Nikki got hurt and talked to Daddy Cena.
See,
anything from Naomi?
I think this was like one of her background episodes. She's just kind of hanging out.
Two things that everyone wants to see in the episodes is cattiness and blurred crotches.
Well, they usually deliver.
Yeah.
On those things.
This week's episode with cattiness. Tune in next week for we'll find out. So there you go. So anything else to add for Total Divas this week?
Not really. If you think that Tyler and I were kind of unjust in our feelings of Ariane, then let us know. We think she's being a terrible girlfriend, and that the poor guy couldn't catch a break.
Deserves another chance.
All right, so there you go. Thanks, Doug. Thanks for pulling the weight in this week's installment of Total Divas.
Hey, I'm used to it.
Oh, that takes us into the Q&A portion.
My back's
of the
fucking
show.
killing me, man.
MF butthole.
Your questions and our answers. First and only question coming to us from Thomas. Drop it low, son.
Drop it low, son. Drop it low, son. Eric, would you like to drop it low, son? We got John to do it. Do it. Do it.
Drop it low, son. Drop it low, son.
Yay! So there you go. Question this week says, hey guys, so I started back at college recently, and whilst it is great to be back, there is one thing in particular that stood out. A lot of new students have arrived, and in our first lesson, one of our teachers decided that we should introduce ourselves and give them a random fact about ourselves. One student by the name of Paul said that his random fact was that he really hates cheesecake. And the room was split into two between the cheesecake lovers and the cheesecake haters. So the question,
Communists.
so the question is, what do you think of cheesecake? What is your favorite dessert overall?
Yeah, I'm leaning into what Eric said. Absolutely communists. Like, I don't think I've ever given the thought of like, hey, what's my favorite dessert? But it goddamn might well be cheesecake, because I do like cheesecake quite a bit.
Yeah.
I do like cheesecake.
You can put everything on it.
Yeah, dude. Strawberries, like chocolate. Yeah.
Blueberry. Bacon.
You could put pickles on cheesecake and it would still be good.
What? I don't know,
I've
man.
never done that, but I'm just saying you can't go wrong with it.
You went
It's
into
still cheesecake.
defense mode like immediately. Like, I never did that.
Bacon cheesecake, I heard you say that. That would be, oh, that's good. I might have to look into that.
There you go. You're welcome.
I'm all about the cheesecake. I've only like tried a few, like strawberry and blueberry, but like other than that, I haven't really regular cheesecake. Other than that, I don't know.
Okay. So how about you, Eric? What's your favorite dessert?
I would probably say cheesecake.
Okay.
The only thing that pisses me off is like when you go to, like, say, I don't know if you have them down there, but they're Golden Corrals. They give you like this little bitty sliver. It's like, really? So you got to like take 2 or 3 to make like one bigger piece.
It's like all of them.
Oh yeah, we do have a Golden Corral down here. That's where our podcast family dinner sometimes takes place. So I would say, I would have said velvet cake was my favorite until I saw velvet cheesecake. And
what?
So,
What?
Yeah,
What is this?
Red velvet cheesecake.
Really?
At the Cheesecake Factory at the Galleria.
What?
I about died.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
It's a new invention.
With bacon?
It was amazing. I think it
Red
might have been
velvet
better than
cheesecake with bacon? Oh.
I don't know. I don't know if you can top it. So,
Like, I can't do ice cream anymore. Like, I'm becoming
I
an
still
old.
love ice cream.
I'm becoming an old man. I think I'm lactose intolerant now. I know y'all all wanted to know that, so you're welcome.
I still love ice cream. I still love like chocolate pie, apple pie.
I like pie. I don't like lemon pie. You know what? I'm like, I'm kind of like fuck lemon
I'll
pie.
pass that. It's fine. I still like cake. Cake is good.
Lemon.
You know what I prefer to cake is the big Great American Cookie Company cakes.
Yes.
Cookie cakes.
Mm,
I'm all about that shit.
cookie. Yeah.
I still like cake and ice cream, but you got to like mash them up together. I don't know why. It just tastes better that way.
Yeah, I agree. I like that.
Nice. Birthday cake ice cream. Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know how like Marble Slab has the like ice cream cake stuff?
Yes.
That shit is the bomb.
And you put sprinkles on it too.
Fuck sprinkles.
Oh.
That's right. I said it. Fuck sprinkles. Fuck sprinkles.
Who are you?
I don't think they add anything. It's just for decoration.
But it's to add to the birthday. Yeah, it's like add this, like,
Garnish.
yes. It's flair. It's flair. Come
I
on.
don't know.
Pieces of
It's
flair.
like putting that little green leafy stuff
Yeah.
underneath your plate.
You don't
Why?
need it, but it's there.
You don't need it. You don't want it.
I want it. I want sprinkles. So they,
Before we get off that question, when he was saying that everyone was introducing themselves, he should have got in front of the whole class and say, "I'm Thomas. Drop it low."
He should have
son.
dropped it low.
And just like just get it, you know,
So
just like get low, get low.
He should have like just been twerking it in front of
Don't fall out on that table though.
yes. There you go. So whenever you introduce yourself from now on, just be like, "I'm Thomas. Drop it low, son. Drop it low, son."
be booty dancing in people's faces.
So there you go. Thank you for the questions. Submit your questions. Head on over to our Facebook page, WNS Podcast, our YouTube page, WNS Video. Don't forget to check us out on WrestlingNewsSource.com, WrestlingNewsSource.com on Facebook. You can also check us out on Wrestling News Source Podcast on iTunes. Good stuff.
We're also on Twitter at WNS Podcast for the main site, WN Source.
Yeah. please, Eric, really quickly again, like we would like to give you the opportunity to plug all the stuff that you would like to plug, websites, Twitters, cons you're attending, anything. Go ahead, bro.
Okay. You can go asteroidbeltcompany.com. You can follow me at Asteroid BC on Twitter. You can go to the Asteroid Belt Company Facebook page and like it. I don't have MySpace. I don't have Tout. I don't any of that other stuff. Basically, it's Twitter,
Vine,
no MySpace, and Facebook. So, yeah, I have. These guys have attested to the belts that I make. They're basically for anything but like a real wrestling belt. You can get shirts. You can get, belts and shirts. They're $50. That's shipped. I help you out as much as I can with design and everything. Just email me. Let me know you heard me on the show, and I'd just be stoked. And I'll follow you on Twitter if you do that.
Hey, there you go. That's a good selling point.
Very cool.
Well, we certainly do appreciate you coming on. It certainly has been fun.
Yes, so go do all that stuff. Please go check out Eric. He's a cool dude. He's doing cool stuff. We wholeheartedly endorse him. Please go check out all our stuff. Like and rate and review and comment and subscribe and all that stuff. It's how you help the show grow. Like if you made it this far to the end of the episode, you probably didn't have that bad of a time. So help us out a little bit. Mm-hmm. Doesn't take much time. We're not asking for your money. Just help us get out there further.
There you go. Yes. You can also subscribe to us on Stitcher, a free app for your smartphone, Android or iPhone. I'm not gonna. You can do it if you want.
No, it's your thing. I was
okay.
Trying to get you to do the Stitcher. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. So
be a man.
Also, be a man, Hogan.
Always be a man, Hogan.
So for the podcast crew, I am Daniel Heron.
Tyler Abear.
I'm Doug.
And we will catch you all next week.